I assume I need no introduction.
For centuries, vampires have haunted our nightmares, undead predators who blur the line between life and death. But behind every myth lies a thread of truth, and sometimes real horror. The vampire predates Dracula by millennia. Mesopotamians feared Lamashtu, a demon who drank children's blood. The Greeks had Lamia, the Chinese, Jiangshi, the Romans, the Strix. Nearly every culture feared something in the dark. In medieval Europe, fear became fact. Chronicler William of Newburgh wrote of revenants, rotting corpses that rose from graves. One tale tells of a man who visited his wife nightly until villagers exhumed and burned him. Some vampires never died. In 17th century Hungary, Countess Elizabeth Bathory allegedly tortured and killed hundreds of girls, bathing in their blood to preserve youth. Witnesses described freezing, mutilation, and bloodletting. Her nobility spared her execution. She was sealed alive inside castle walls. Then came Vlad III, Vlad the Impaler, the real Dracula. He impaled tens of thousands, nailed turbans to emissaries' heads, and burned beggars alive. A hero to some, a monster to others. Perhaps both. Not all vampires were monsters. Some were misunderstood. Porphyria causes severe light sensitivity and facial disfigurement, hallmarks of the folklore. Catalepsy mimics death. Some may have been buried alive, inspiring tales of the undead clawing from graves. Psychology casts its own shadows. Clinical vampirism, Renfield syndrome, drives some to drink blood, often rooted in trauma. For them, blood isn't fantasy. It's fixation. Others claim to feed on energy, not blood. Instruments have recorded shifts in electromagnetic fields, mood, and body temperature during so-called psychic feedings. Not mystical, perhaps, but measurable. Belief alone can be deadly. In the 1970s, Richard Trenton Chase murdered 6 people, drinking their blood to prevent imagined decay. In 1996, Rod Ferrell led a vampire cult across state lines, killing a girl's parents. He claimed to be a 500-year-old vampire. His followers drank his blood. They believed. They killed. These weren't random acts. They were ritualized. In court, Ferrell showed no remorse. To him, his victims weren't human. They were energy sources. But not all self-identified vampires are predators. A real subculture exists. People who consume small amounts of blood or energy consensually. They prioritize consent, safety, and mutual respect. They're not monsters. They're misunderstood. Community leaders work to prevent abuse. They know the myth attracts unstable minds, and they've seen the harm when it's weaponized. Science can't fully explain these feedings, but biometric shifts, heart rate, skin response, mood, are real. The cause is unclear. The effect? Repeatable. The vampire evolves with us. In Nosferatu, it symbolized plague. By the 1990s, it had become a romantic anti-hero, cursed, seductive, immortal. From Dracula to Interview with the Vampire, it became metaphor for grief, isolation, desire. But beneath the glamour lies suffering, disease, madness, fear. Consider rabies. It causes aggression, hydrophobia, biting. In the Middle Ages, its outbreaks mirrored vampirism, bite, transformation, death. Lacking science, people saw monsters. In Eastern Europe, vampire burials surface, bodies staked, decapitated, or buried with stones in their mouths. Not fiction, rituals born of real fear. Today, vampire culture persists in clubs, forums, even labs. Some role-play. Others quietly manage their needs. The line between community and cult, however, is critical. Because when the myth becomes manipulation, it becomes abuse. Hospitals treat blood play injuries. Therapists hear survivors describe being turned. The vampire becomes a tool of control. Cults like Ferrell's used isolation, rituals, and promises of power to lure the vulnerable. For some, it offered meaning, until it demanded blood. The danger isn't the undead. It's those who wear the myth to justify cruelty. Farrell remains imprisoned. He no longer claims immortality, but his crimes endure, a warning about belief taken too far. Why do vampires persist? Because they mirror what we fear most: death, disease, helplessness, and what we secretly desire: power, immortality, escape. The vampire reflects us, what we want, and what we'll do to get it. Each era remakes the myth. Victorian vampires warned of sex and disease. Cold War ones symbolized ideological corruption. Today's vampire speaks to loneliness, detachment, emotional hunger. And perhaps the most haunting symbol? Vampires cast no reflection. In seeking eternal life, they lose the ability to see themselves. Maybe that's the truth at the heart of every vampire story. The most terrifying creatures don't rise from graves. They smile, they charm, and they walk among us,